Despite our best efforts, we all seem to have those days when we have so much on our to-do list, but are somehow unable to make it through all the goals we have set for ourselves, or days when we just feel unproductive. I'm Sukriti Sekhri. I'm a doctoral candidate in the area of marketing at Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and I'm here to share some tips that work for me when I'm having one of these days. Tip number one is break it down. Make it simple for yourself. Set down a guide map, which is step by step and guiding you down the path to achieving your goals. Suppose you tell yourself that today you're blocking 3 hours of your time to work on your thesis. Now, the goal here, working on your thesis, is such an abstract sort of goal that it suddenly seems insurmountable. You do sit on your desk with the intention of working on the thesis, but you're just not sure where to begin. So this is not a very nice way to put it down on your to-do list. What that does is it just acts as a demotivator because you read that, okay, I have to work on my thesis, but you're just not sure what are the steps you need to do to get there. So you can break that down by telling yourself what are the specific tasks you have to do on that day. For instance, working on your thesis on a particular day may look like writing down results section of study 2 and study number 3. Or it could look like organizing your graphs and putting them in one neatly organized document, labeling figures, putting together your data, analysis of data, and so on. So breaking down whatever it is you have to do makes it much more manageable, much more easy to achieve. And after everything, you can then tick it off and feel like you have done something, which is a huge motivation boost. Tip number two is a very practical advice that always works for me, and that is to use the Pomodoro technique. Many of you would have heard of this. What Pomodoro technique essentially means is you work for 25 minutes non-stop without any distractions and then take a 5-minute break. The version that I like to follow is a 50-minute work period followed by a 10-minute break. The beauty of the Pomodoro technique is it tricks our mind into thinking that we only have to focus for these 25 minutes and then we get to move away from our desk, have water, go stretch, meet our family, etc. Often what I find is when I sit to work with the intent of just a 25-minute or a 50-minute time block, I actually get into the work and feel myself in a state of flow where I'm able to achieve whatever I have set out to do without worrying or stressing about it too much. So there are several free apps available which you can try. The one I love is called Clockwork Tomato, just because it's a very simple interface. It's a free app which you can get from Google Play Store. Or if you don't want to download anything, YouTube has plenty of Pomodoro resources. Just go and type Pomodoro timer and you will find a number of different sorts of timers. YouTube also provides a lot of ambient Pomodoro timers, which I absolutely love. For instance, there's one which takes you to the Gryffindor common room and you feel like you're in the Harry Potter universe with very specific, pleasing sounds in the background for 25 minutes, followed by a break and so on. There is the sound of rain. There is a forest Pomodoro timer. And these are really helpful when you just want to get into that nice mindset and in a distraction-free zone. So I'm going to link it in the description below and hopefully it helps you as well. Tip number 3 is to make it a little more manageable for yourself. On some days when we are feeling a little less focused, it's completely okay to not jump into the toughest task, but start off with something more easy or more doable, which could even be replying to emails, which could be getting done with your administrative tasks and not really into a lot of deep thinking work. Another tip that really works for me, which you might want to try, is to identify the top 3 things that you are prioritizing for that day. Suppose you sit down to make a list of all the things you have to do. You might feel overwhelmed looking at the sheer number of tasks that have to be achieved. But just picking out the 3 things that you have to do that day will help you to focus your attention there and will force you to prioritize what needs to be done and then push away the rest of the things for later. It will not take up so much brain space. So the idea is to create a master list of everything you have to do, but then pick 3 things that you can then paste on your desktop or you can put on a sticky note somewhere just to tell yourself that, okay, this is a doable task list for today. One final point, which is not so much a tip, but more something I've been trying to incorporate lately, is to be more compassionate with yourself. It's okay to take some time off, to take a rest day, to take some time to reset and reprioritize, and then get back to it. We are often so bombarded with this idea of staying super productive, always chasing our goals, giving into this whole notion of hustle culture that we don't stop to pause, reflect, and take care of ourselves. Work is one part of our life, but we have to take care of ourselves in a much more holistic manner. And focusing on things that make you happy will mean a happier you when you sit at your work desk and a happier you when you are engaging with your work, which will overall increase your work output and make you feel, on the whole, much better. I hope these tips helped, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in this conversation in the comments below. Thank you for watching.